Hey, how y'all doing, my friends? And of course, this is, I guess, the official review video, which I haven't done in a while, on a movie. Granted, I will admit to you all right here, when I saw this film, I wasn't in the right state of mind and like that. But nonetheless, this film just needs to be taken down a peg or two. Because this movie was on AFI's top 100 list and everything. It got a lot of praise by critics and this and that and that and this. And I've heard about this film for years. This movie, of course, is Fargo, which came out in 1996. I know this was a big movie that year when it came out. I think movie stars, I believe, Frances McDormand and William H. Macy. I think this movie helped put William H. Macy on the map. I think Frances McDormand, I'm not sure. I think she got an Oscar for this role. I'm not sure. Or a nod or whatever. And I think the Coen brothers walked away with some stuff. I could be wrong. This is one of the reasons. This movie to me is one of the reasons why I'm not really full 100% on board with the Coen brothers movies. When it comes to their films, Raising Arizona has always been my favorite. I grew up with that film. I always have a lot of fun with that film. Nicolas Cage, John Goodman, William Forsythe, Holly Hunter. Very fun movie. Randall Texcab, of course. Uh, Another film they did I enjoyed a lot. So you gotta think about this. It's one that really nobody likes, but I didn't mind it for what it had to be. The Lady Killers with Tom Hanks. I haven't seen it in a while, but I remember having a good time with it. For what it has to be. It's kind of Tom Hanks' sort of little comeback at the comedy, which I guess he ain't going on to do much of that, I guess. And stuff, but it was a decent watch for what it had to be. Of course, the one that shares, I think, the top spot next to Raising Arizona is The Big Lebowski, which I saw with my brother from another mother, Matt, on New Year's Eve, which I'll never forget that time. That's a fun film. I revisited that film again. I did a review of that one. You guys remember that one? But then you get these times when the Coen brothers try to branch out and do other stuff, which okay, it's understandable. These guys, I haven't seen Blood. I think it was a Blood Simple. I think that was the one the early one that they did with John Getz and I think M. Emmett Walsh. I haven't seen that one. I heard interesting things about that one, but I don't know if that one will disappoint me like this one did. And the other film, which I don't like as equally as this one I'm about to talk about here, is No Country for Old Men. Because basically, it's a story. Josh Brolin finds this money, and he takes the money, but then they send Javier Bardem to look for him. He has this thing. Okay, friendo, is this talking like he's Vin Diesel, but he's not and shit. And you got decent firefights, or a little bit of a chase between him, cat and mouse game going on between him and Josh Brolin. But then it cuts away. We got Tommy Lee Jones just mumbling along with Garrett Dillahunt, his deputy. Garrett Dillahunt, you remember from fucking from the last season of Sarah Connor Chronicles or whatever. And just a boring film that just ends abrupt and then just goes on for no reason. So then you get Fargo here, which is that's one of the Coen Brothers to me. I think they did some decent films when they stick with their comedy, but when they try to branch out and do other things, like for me, I noticed that's one of the reasons I've neglected to watch True Grit because I have a feeling I'm gonna have the same reaction. Now people might say, but that's not fair. You're gonna judge it. It's just every time I try to go into these guys' movies with some hope, and I end up thinking like, why did this movie get nods? Why did this movie get? But anyway, I'll go into the plot of the film. By the way, this got an 8.3 on IMDb. And I notice any movie that gets 8.3 on IMDb is reason to worry because X-Men First Bullshit got an 8.3 or an 8.2 and shit. And that movie doesn't deserve that high a mark, but I understand that friends might not love it. Okay. And stuff. But this movie here, it's directed by Joel Cohen, written by Ethan Cohen, his brother. And these guys have collaborated on project, of course. Now, it's got a lot of fans, this film, obviously. People say, oh, it's like Shakespeare. It's like this, or like that. Well, whatever, float your boat. It's a 98-minute movie. It's not that long of a film, but really, it's just the plot is this. You have this character named Jerry, who's played by William H. Macy. When the movie opens up, it has a very beautiful score, which invokes a lot of emotions. Granted, when I saw this movie, I know I wasn't in the right state of mind because of what happened that same day when I saw this film, which they gave on cable. Somebody would tell me, why don't you watch it again when you're in better state of mind? Because I saw this film once. I honestly don't feel like giving this film another chance. In all honesty, because it had nothing going for it. So, you have a beautiful score. I want to get the guy who did the score for this. Which the score made me break down and cry, of course, because once again, I wasn't in the right state of mind. Plus, it's a sad score. I remember the tribute. Carter Barwell did the score for this. I know Mike did a tribute to RoboCop using this little piece of music, which is a beautiful score. Shows emotions to it. I don't know if I can listen to that score again, though, but I'll break it down in tears. But, pretty much, we opened up, we had that score, and of course this movie takes place somewhere out in Fargo, North Dakota, I guess. Now I don't know where exactly North Dakota is at, or Fargo is at, or Paul Bunyan country is at, or whatever. But anyway, I'll get to the plot. We introduce this character named Jerry, played by William H. Macy, who goes to this bar in Fargo, North Dakota, to meet with these two guys, okay, Steve Buscemi and who plays Carl, and Peter Starmore, who go on to be in Armageddon. He will go on to be in Bad Boys 2, and plus, I always remember him playing the devil in Constantine and stuff. Decent actor. Plays this character named Girir, kind of a Russian guy who just smokes his cigarette and stares. I'm not sure. I think he was also in Big Lebowski as well. If I could be wrong. But yeah, these two guys there, and Steve Buscemi's character just is very annoying. I know I know, like when they did the Big Lebowski, like when I talked about that film, I saw that movie first before this one. That movie kicks the shit out of this movie. Pretty much character doesn't know when to shut the fuck up at times, because William H. Macy basically wants to he hears from a friend of his, because he works for a dealership, car dealership, for his father-in-law, his wife's father, who's a very rich man, and he basically wants to hire Steve Buscemi and Peter Starmore to kidnap his wife, so they could ransom her off for some money, and that she doesn't get hurt. They pay the ransom, and they get half of the money, and he gets the other half of the money. Why does he want this money? It's unfucking known. I mean, we're left to assume, maybe, first by the viewer, I guess, that he might have maybe been embezzling money away from his father-in-law or something. Who's this guy, this actor named Harv Presnell. Well, I remember him because I remember he played John Travolta's boss in Face Off and everything like that. Who plays Wade Gustafson. And the father-in-law is pretty much like an asshole, pretty much, to William H. Macy. William H. Macy's character is kind of a guy who doesn't like to get into confrontations. He's very passive and everything. He's like, oh, okay, look, we just get this money here, and you guys do what you want, and I just need the money for this investment because my father-in-law won't give me this money. So they make a deal to do this thing, to go, I guess, a certain time to do this. But while he's at work, he pretty much he discovers some kind of big sale he's about to do, this big account he's about to close, and his father-in-law and his ass-kissing fucking Jagul or whatever they call that motherfucker or whatever, Ghoul, pretty much wants to take the deal away from William H. Macy and take credit for it. And he's like, "But they would give him a finder's fee." But he goes, "No, I just want the money because I need this money." And he goes, "No. We're taking the deal, and that's the way it's gonna be." So he gets fucked over. So what he tries to do is, first, when he thinks he got the money, he tries to get in touch with Steve Buscemi and Peter Stanmore, but they're already en route, getting ready to do what they gotta do. The comedy in this film falls flat. It doesn't work. It tries to go for dark humor, but the Coen Brothers did better work in Lady Killers, in my humble opinion, or even in Raising Arizona. Well, I've seen movies like this that dealt with dark comedy, which I've seen in the past couple of days, which I should review around the corner. A movie called Throw Mama for a Train, which I'll review that soon. So that happens. They break into her house. Now she's basically knitting. She's sewing, and she sits on a couch and she sees a fucking guy. I guess she's shocked at first, trying to break into a window. She's just like, "Fuck that! Run! Get out!" But she waits. The window breaks, and then she runs away. And I guess Steve Buscemi chases her. She tries to call the cops. That doesn't work. They grab the phone from near the end. Supposedly this is supposed to be based on a true story, but I don't believe this goofy shit really happened in real life. It seems too much of a stretch, really, to pull this out of your ass. Like, trying to sell it as a bio, really, like a biopic, really. You know, some movies have done it better, but here this just doesn't work. I don't buy this silliness. And basically, I guess she attacks Peter Stanmore, and his hands all fucked up, and he just walks after her, doesn't even run after her, goes to the medicine cabinet, looks for a band-aid for his finger. She comes out of the shower she hides in. She's blinded by the shower drapes, misses him, he stands there, and she falls down the stairs and knocks herself the fuck out. And he's just like, well, really, it is supposed to be funny, really? Maybe people laughed on theaters in 96. I didn't find it funny. You tie her up, take her up, take her to this cabin somewhere where they're going to wait for the phone call to make the deal. During this time, we're introduced to this this sheriff, which I guess you don't have top billing, which I did not like this character. This sheriff somewhere in, I guess, Minnesota or whatever. Because what happens is, when they take her, right, she's in the back seat of the car. It's nighttime. She's making a lot of noise. And Steve Buscemi, being an idiot, talking while he's driving, drives too fast. The highway patrol pull him over. He, like a dumbass he is, tries to bribe the cop. Peter Stanmore realizes that they're going to get caught, so he takes out his gun and shoots the cop. Or I think he bangs the cop's face and breaks his neck or something. And Steve Buscemi, being an idiot once again, cannot move the body fast enough through the ice. And you get these people who are driving by with their mouth open. Peter Stanmore sees them, gets in the car, chases them. They get into a crash. One guy makes it out of the car. It's a guy and a woman. One guy makes it out of the car. Peter Stanmore shoots him in the back. And then the woman, as the defense is there, he just empties the gun into her. But we don't see it after. It's off-camera kill. They were introduced to a character which I didn't like because I felt she was annoying with an over-the-top, really bad Canadian accent. Yeah. Played by Frances McDormand. Who's this? Really, this sheriff who's, I guess she's pregnant? Went in bed like maybe 7 months pregnant? I'm like, I don't know, but when you're doing law enforcement, whether you're a sheriff or not, or even if your area is a small fucking abandoned area in Alaska town, or it's like Paul Bunyan country, I guess, because they showed a Paul Bunyan statue a lot and shit. And she has this husband. It's just very motionless character. Motionless. Nothing much happens. Nothing is done. She comes in. Her husband has no dialogue. She shows up at the crime scene. I guess she's sort of a fucking savant because she figures, well, yeah. Oh, yeah. I guess howdy doody. I guess we go here. I'm like, I guess you can fucking blow me, Frances McDormand, please. How does one win an Oscar for this? I don't get it. Is that kind of like the same? That's why I don't like the Oscars, to be honest, because they give awards sometimes to, like, I can understand Tom Hanks getting the Oscar, to be honest.